Okay, so I repeat the question. So so let me for the recording sake, let me tell me something else. Okay, so as part of today's class, we are going to discuss the data integration between SAP ECC and the GTS. So when I say data integration, we need to integrate the data master data. You need to integrate the master data from ECC to GTS, and also we need to integrate the transactional data from ECC to GTS. So that is what we talk about today's session, and also we talk about what will happen. What will happen when the master data transfer from the ECC to GTS, and we will also talk about what will happen when the transactional data transfer from the ECC to GTS. And also what we will also discuss about what needs to be done or what configuration settings needs to be done in order to transfer the master data or in order to transfer the transactional data. So that is what we are going to discuss for coming 2 hours of time. And coming back to the question what I am asking, so when you understood that SAP GTS module is intended to take care of the customer countries or products, product classification, or assigning the licenses, or assigning the letter of credit records to the whatever it is, what it needs in order to perform all these activities, what it needs.
Master data.
Yes, very good. We need the master data, and then what else we need? Master data is enough.
We need transaction data as well.
We need the transactional data as well. You are all correct. That means if you are expecting the system, or if you are asking the system to verify my customer, if you are asking the customer to verify my customer country, or if you are asking the system assign the license record to the product in the transaction, so what it needs, it need the master data available in the GTS system, and also it needs the transactional data available in the system. If you don't create any transaction, if you don't create any master data, it cannot do anything else. So you provide some like master data, or you provide some list of products, and if you ask the system, yes, it can do the classification. Or if you provide the list of customers, yes, what it can do, it can verify the customer details against the band member details, or it can verify the customer country details against the embargo country details. So that way we need the master data and we need the transactional data. So now I am going to tell you, or I am telling you something which is very important. In the GTS module, we never create any customer, or we never create any vendor directly. That means we never create any master data like customer master data or vendor master data directly in the GTS system, and also we never create any transaction. We never create any transaction, like we never create any sales order directly in the GTS, or we never create any delivery directly in the GTS, or we never create any purchase order directly in the GTS, or we never create any inbound delivery in the GTS system directly. That means accepting, like, other than export declaration, that is customs export declaration document, and other than the customs import declaration document, that is also very rare cases. Other than creating the customs export declaration document and the customs import declaration document, in exceptional cases we never create any transaction directly in the GTS, or we never create any master data directly in the GTS, especially like the customer master data or vendor master data, we never create it. So then you may have the question, then how the GTS system gets the data? Any question, any guess or any answers? How the GTS system can get that?
They are transferring data from ECC to GTS.
Yes. So that means we will use our ECC system to transfer the data. That means that way. Before I explain this, I wanted to just remind you something. If you remember, like, I'm not sure how many of you aware of APO GATP. We have like one new dimensional module called APO, which is having 4 different submodules like GATP, production planning and detail scheduling, demand planning, and supply network planning. You know that, right? APO module. I think now it is not very good demand. It's not in very good demand. Sometime back, maybe 6-7 years back, and it was having demand in the market. So if any one of you work in the GATP module, since you are SD consultant, so what it will take care of it? What is the purpose of GATP module? Why do we need to use the GATP module? Why SAP provided GATP module that time?
It's a global ATP. End of the day, it's to make sure the stock is supplied or produced from a single point of planning, basically for planning.
Basically for the planning, yes.
Yeah,
And the
MRP
product
checklist.
confirmations.
That means why the reason why SAP introduced that area is in SAP ECC we have a limitation. That is, in SAP ECC, when you create a sales order, the system can verify the stock only at the one plant level, right? You know that, right? We can only,
Yes.
when you create a sales order in the ECC, at any point of time for one sales order, we can only verify the stock, or the system can perform the availability of the stock at one plant level. But what if a company is having multiple plants, especially like all these FMCG companies, they're having a number of plants which are very close to each other. They don't have much distance. But because of this limitation, even though the product is not, even though the product is available at the other plant which is close to that, the plant which is specified in the order, but we are not able to utilize the stock available at the other plants, right? That is the limitation, right? We have in the ECC availability check. You agree with me?
Yes. 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 Yes.
So that's why what SAP SAP did. SAP introduced a module called GATP, where you can do the availability check at the global level. That means if you use SAP GATP module, what it can do, it can perform the availability check at the global level, at all plant level. So you don't, the system need not worry about one plant. It can verify the stock at all the plant level and it can give the results back. So that means if you are using SAP GATP module, Global Availability to Promise module, so what you are doing, are you creating the sales order in the APO system? Are you going to create the sales order in the APO system? No, right?
No.
We never create. So, but what we do, we create the sales orders in the ECC system. We are intended or we are designed to use the create the sales orders in the ECC. But what we do, using some core interface jobs, CIF and other integration tools, what we do, we transfer our sales orders to the GATP module, that is APO system. We transfer our transactions and the master data to the APO system, where the GATP module can perform the availability check at global level and it can give the results back to the ECC. So that is how it works. In the similar way, GTS module also, we never create any sales order. In the similar way, when it comes to the GTS perspective, we never create any sales order or delivery or purchase order or inbound delivery in the GTS system. We never create. But what we do, we create all the transactional data in the ECC system. We create the transactional data only in the ECC system. But what we do, we transfer whatever the transactional data which is relevant for the GTS module, we transfer the transactional data to the GTS module. And then what will happen, I will tell you. Okay? So basically what we need to know, in general, under normal circumstances, we do not create any transactional data in the GTS module other than customs export declaration document or customs import declaration document in exceptional cases. Other than that, we never create any transactional data in the GTS system directly. But instead of that, what we do, we create all the transactions in the ECC system. We create all the transactions in the ECC system. If your feeder system is ECC system. If your feeder system is, in very few cases, some people using the CRM module where they create the sales orders. In that cases, what would be the feeder system? In most of the cases, in 99% of the cases, the feeder system is the ECC system. 99% of the cases, the feeder system would be ECC. But still, SAP SAP GTS is having the capability of, SAP GTS system is having the capability of, okay, receiving the data other than ECC also. That means you can send the data from CRM, you can send the data from SRM, or you can send the data from any non-SAP system also. That means SAP GTS system is designed, SAP GTS system is designed to receive the data from any system. But 99% of the cases, okay, even not in 90%, nowadays, now it is 100% of the cases, ECC system is the feeder system. ECC system like ECC SD module and MM module, these are the two modules which feed the data. These two modules which feed the data to the GTS module to perform what is that, the validation, export validations, or international trade regulation validation. So that way, what you need to understand, ECC system is feed the data. ECC system feeds the data to the GTS module by sending master data and by sending the transactional data. So that means whatever the transactions we are creating as part of international trade, we create all those transactions in the ECC and then we transfer the transactional data to the GTS module. And also we transfer the master data from the ECC to GTS. That means whatever the customer master or whatever the vendor master we create are products, and the product master also. Whatever the product master or the customer master or vendor master, whatever the data we create in the ECC, we also transfer the master data to the GTS module. So this is like what you need to know about the master data and transactional data. We need to know what master data and what transactional data are intended to transfer to the GTS module. This is all about. Now I'm going to explain you something else, that is, what is the mode of transfer? What is the mode of transfer recommended? What is the mode of transfer recommended by SAP to transfer the master data and to transfer the transactional data? So I'm going to explain what is the mode of transfer recommended by SAP to transfer the master data and to transfer the transaction data. So before I explain this from my side, can I ask a question? What are the different modes of transfer which we can do? What are the different mode of transfer available?
One is RFC calls. We do RFC.
RFC is a technique. You can say RFC is a technique or tool which we can use to transfer the data, whatever the data it is. But I'm asking.
I think it's a synchronous and asynchronous, Venkat.
Yes, Sunil, that is what I'm expecting. So there is something else called. You might be knowing that. You might be knowing, but you might not get to know my intention. What I'm asking. Okay, you might be knowing.
Okay.
So basically, what happens? There are two kinds of transfers. There are two mode of transfers. There are two types of mode of transfers. One is the synchronous mode, and the second one is asynchronous mode. One is the synchronous mode of transfer, and the second one is asynchronous mode of transfer. So I hope everybody might be knowing it, but still I wanted to explain. Synchronous mode of transfer means at any point of time, if the data transfers at any point of time, if data transfers from one system to other system, if the data transfers from one system to other system in a synchronous mode, at any point of time, if the data transfer from the one system to other system, in the real-time mode, in the sense it's immediately online. If the system is able to, if the data is able to transfer from one system to other system in the online or real-time mode, that is called as synchronous mode of transfer. Synchronous mode of transfer. And if the data is not getting transferred real time, if the data is not getting transferred to the real time from one system to other system, that is called asynchronous. It is not sync at the same time or the real time. Asynchronous means it is not, the data is not syncing from one system to other system same time. That means in the asynchronous mode of transfer, the data will not be available in the target system. In the asynchronous mode of transfer, the data will not be available in the target system real-time mode. It will take some time. Or it transfers the data on a periodical basis. That means if the data is transferring from the source system to the target system on a periodical basis, we call that as a asynchronous mode of transfer. Whereas if the data is transferring from the source system to target system real-time mode or immediately or online, then that mode of transfer is called as synchronous mode of transfer. Synchronous mode of transfer. So that means there are two kinds of transfers, or there are two types of mode of transfers available in SAP or everywhere, asynchronous and synchronous. So now what we need to understand, as of now we understood that our system is designed, or we are designed to transfer master data and transactional data. Now we need to know what mode of transfer is recommended by SAP for the master data transfer. Now we need to know what mode of transfer is recommended by SAP for transferring the transactional data, or what mode of transfer is recommended by SAP to transfer the transactional data. So that is what we need to discuss now. So basically SAP recommends use asynchronous mode of transfer. SAP recommends use asynchronous mode of transfer to transfer the master data. So as you know that, as you already understood, there are two different kind of data we need to transfer, that the master data and the transactional data. But what SAP recommending, use asynchronous mode of transfer to transfer the master data, and also SAP suggesting use synchronous mode of transfer to transfer the transactional data. This is what is suggested by SAP. So now we need to know, if we say asynchronous, what will happen, or how the data will be transferred, or if I say synchronous, what will happen, how the data will be transferred. That is what we need to know. So basically, if you are preferring, or if you would like to use asynchronous mode of transfer, there what you need to do, you need to schedule the background jobs. So generally asynchronous means what? Periodical transfer, periodical data transfer. That means once a day, or twice a day, or thrice a day, or 10 times a day, or 5 times a day, whatever it is, you stick to like specific timings. Okay, morning 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So like that, you schedule the background jobs. At different time slots, and according to those time slots, the data will be transferred from the one system to other system periodically. So that kind of transfer, that means SAP suggesting use periodical transfer, that is asynchronous transfer, to transfer the master data. That means for transferring the customer master, for transferring the vendor master, or for transferring the product master, for transferring the customer master, for transferring the vendor master, for transferring the product master, SAP suggesting use asynchronous mode. That means use periodical jobs or background jobs, so that the data will be transferred from the source system to target system on a periodical basis or the asynchronous basis. So that is what is suggested by the SAP GTS for the master data transfer. And now what kind of transfer is suggested for the transactional data? The SAP suggesting synchronous mode of transfer. SAP is suggesting synchronous mode of transfer to transfer the transactional data from one system to other system. That is the synchronous mode. So synchronous means, how the synchronous mode is possible? Is background jobs is possible? If you use the background jobs, you can transfer the data synchronous. Is it possible?
No,
So then what?
No, it's not possible.
Yes.
not possible.
Correct. Then what we need to do? What SAP is suggesting? SAP is suggesting use RFC connection, use RFC process, use remote function calls. So remote function calls means what we do? We need to connect. First of all, we need to connect both the target system and the source system, and then the SAP GTS has built up the system. Both ECC and the GTS systems are built up with RFC setup, and with the help of that, and also using activation of the baddies. So what SAP is suggesting, First of all, you need to make sure that both target system and source system are connected to each other. That means RFC setup is there. You need to make sure that RFC setup is there between the source system and target system. And also what you need to do, you need to activate some baddies. You need to activate some baddies so that the transactional data will be transferred from the one system to other system synchronous mode. So that means for the master data we need to transfer the data on a periodical basis, whereas master data we need to transfer the real-time mode using the baddies and using the RFC setup. So this is what is suggested by SAP GTS for the master data and the transactional data transfer. One is the synchronous mode and other one is the asynchronous mode. So when I say synchronous mode, the moment when you save the sales order, the moment when you save the sales order in the ECC, in a fraction of seconds, the sales order will be available in the GTS system with some other document. I will tell you what it is. I don't want to reveal it now. So basically, the moment when you save the sales order, that sales order or delivery or the purchase order or inbound delivery or billing document or material document or whatever it will be available in the GTS module in a fraction of seconds in the real-time mode. So that is the synchronous mode of transfer. Whereas asynchronous mode, the data transfers on a periodical basis based on your background jobs which you schedule in the system. So this is what we need to know before we get into the other part. So that is what happens in the GTS when you transfer the transactional data, and also now we need to know what happens in the GTS when you transfer the master data. So because when you are transferring the sales order from the ECC to GTS, so there should be some document in the GTS, right? For whatever the transaction you are transferring from the ECC to GTS, there should be some corresponding document, right? Am I correct? So when you transfer a sales order, or when you transfer a delivery, or when you transfer a billing, or when you transfer a purchase order, inbound delivery or material document from the ECC to GTS, this document should be available in the GTS, right? Am I correct? That is your intention, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, Venkat.
So now you tell me, or what do you think? You think that all the orders are available in the GTS system as a sales orders, or all the deliveries are available in the GTS system as a sales as outbound deliveries? You think that? Do you think that?
No.
Correct. No. That means whenever you transfer the transactional data from ECC to GTS system, the GTS system will create. The GTS system will receive, first of all, the moment when you save the sales order, the sales order will be getting transferred to the GTS, and the GTS system will receive the sales order. The GTS system will receive the sales order, and also the GTS system will create a corresponding. The GTS system will create a corresponding or associated document. That means each and every transaction. That means each and every transaction, whatever you transfer from the ECC to GTS, those transactions should be having a corresponding or associated document in the GTS module. So the expectation is whenever the GTS system receives the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, the expectation is the GTS system should be in a position to create an associated or the corresponding document, to create a corresponding document or associated document for each and every transaction it receives from the ECC system. That is what what should be happen. That is what is our expectation. Because can you tell me why do we need to create the associated custom document or associated corresponding document? Why do we need, why when you transfer any document, why do we need to create a corresponding document in the GTS? What is the ultimate goal? After creating the corresponding document, what we are supposed to do?
We need to link it up, right? Like we need to verify and validate and link it up.
That means unless and until you create any transaction in the GTS, you cannot do validation, right? Unless and until you cannot create, unless and until you create unless and until you create any data, any transactional data in the GTS, you cannot proceed. You cannot go ahead to create, validate, to do the validation or to do the verification. So that means, in order to perform the verification process or in order to perform the validation process in the GTS module, we need some transactions. We need some transactional data. So for that, what we are doing, we are asking the ECC. For that reason, we are asking the ECC system, please send the sales orders or please send the transactions to GTS. Then the GTS system is creating corresponding or associated custom documents. We call it as custom documents. Okay? The corresponding document or associated document which is getting created in the GTS module for the sales order and the delivery, we are calling those documents as custom documents. Okay? The corresponding document or associate document which we are creating, which the GTS system creating, is referred, is called as, okay, is called as custom documents. Custom documents, even for the purchase order, inbound delivery also. But for the bill, for the billing document, which we are creating in the GTS system, that means the corresponding document or associate document which we are creating for the billing document, the corresponding document or the associate document which GTS system creates for the billing document or the material document. I repeat my statement. In most of the cases are, the documents, the corresponding document or the associated documents which we create for the order delivery, purchase order, inbound delivery, we call it as the corresponding documents or the associate documents which we create for the order delivery, purchase order and inbound delivery, we call it as a custom documents. That means if any document is getting created in the GTS system for the order, sales order, or if any document is getting created for the delivery, or if any document is getting created for the purchase order and inbound delivery in the GTS module, if any document is created for the GTS module for those 4 transactions, order delivery, purchase order, inbound delivery, we refer, we name it as custom document. But whereas the document, the corresponding document or the associated document which is getting created for the billing document or material document, if any corresponding or associated document is getting created for the billing document or the material document, we call it as customs export declaration document or customs import declaration document. Please identify the difference. The documents which creates in the GTS system for sales order delivery, purchase order, inbound delivery, we name it as custom documents. But whereas the documents which are getting created for the billing document or pro forma or the material document, we call it as customs export declaration from the export side and the customs import declaration from the import side. So that is the difference. If you see any document as a custom document, you can think of it, okay, it might be custom document for the sales order, it might be custom document for the delivery, or it might be custom document for the PO, it can be custom document for inbound delivery. But whereas if you see any customs export declaration document or if you see any customs import declaration document, then you need to think, okay, this document is getting referred or this document is getting created by reference to the billing document or pro forma, or if you see any customs import declaration document, you can think that this document is getting created in the GTS module with reference to the material document. So this is like, the slight difference. There is a slight difference in the GTS transactions, that is custom documents and the customs export declaration or customs import declaration document. And there is something else what I need to tell. Basically, when you transfer the sales order from the ECC to GTS, then what will happen in the GTS module? The GTS system will create custom document at the sales document level. When you transfer the sales order from ECC to GTS, you know what will happen? The GTS system will create custom document at the sales document level. You can see the document description also. You can see the document description saying that this is the custom document which is created or which was created at the sales document level. If you transfer the outbound delivery to the GTS module, the custom document created by the GTS system for that outbound delivery is referred, it appears as, it displayed as custom document outbound delivery level. And if you see any custom document which is created with reference to the purchase order, you can see custom document PO level. If you see any custom document created with reference to the inbound delivery, you can see that custom document as inbound delivery level. And if you see any billing document which is, if you see any customs export declaration document created in the GTS module, that you can see, okay, sorry, it is like this. If you transfer the billing document or if you transfer the perform invoice to the GTS module, then you can only see customs export declaration. You don't need to see like it's billing or it's performer. You don't need to see, because why can you tell me why we need to why the system need to show sales level or delivery level or PO level, inbound delivery level for the custom document? Why it doesn't need to show like for the billing and the material document? Why? Can you tell me? You can easily tell.
Because there's no validation happens.
Because
I mean,
sorry. Tell me.
In case of sales documents, it's like 4 documents getting converted to one. So you need to specifically indicate which one it refers to. And in case of billing, in every case, it's only declaration document. So
yes, that means, yes, Nishit, that means I would like to slightly modify that. Basically, we are having total 4 different custom documents, right? That means we are calling four transactions as a custom document. If you don't say it is a sales document level, if you don't say it is a delivery document level, if you don't say it is a PO level, if you don't say it is an inbound delivery level, what will happen? We do not know whether this custom document is created with reference to the sales order, or whether this custom document is created with reference to the delivery level, or whether the custom document created with the PO level. You don't know, because the naming convention is same: custom document, custom document, custom document, custom document. You cannot differentiate whether this custom document is referring sales order, whether this custom document referring the delivery or whatever it is. That is the reason we SAP suggested to use the sales level, delivery level, PO level, inbound delivery. But whereas when it comes to the customs export declaration, it is only creating with reference to the one document, that is billing or the pro forma. So that is why you don't need to differentiate. You don't need to show anything. If it is customs export declaration, means you can blindly remember, okay, it might have created with reference to the billing or the pro forma. If it is customs import declaration, you can think, you can imagine, or you can guess that, okay, this is created with reference to the ECC material document. So that is the reason we don't need to show, you don't need to display anything at the customs export declaration or import declaration, but definitely for the customs document PO level or custom document inbound level, custom document level, it has to display. I will tell you how it is possible or what configuration is done, and or how we are able to see the difference. Okay, we will discuss as part of the general settings, the configuration of the general settings.
Venkat, when you say billing document, is it customer invoice or commercial invoice?
Basically, most of the cases, we create the pro forma invoice. Most of the cases, we create the pro forma invoice and transfer to the GTS. Then the GTS system will create the customs export declaration document. In very few cases, few clients, they use regular customer invoice to transfer to the GTS module, and the GTS system will create the customs export declaration. But most of the cases, it is pro forma invoice. We refer pro forma invoice, or we transfer the pro forma invoice to the GTS module, and the GTS system will create the customs export declaration.
Okay. And one more question, Venkat, is GTS supports for the consolidation shipments? For example, we are consolidating, delivery for the multiple sales orders. So how GTS supports in that scenario? Is it it will create one custom document for multiple sales orders?
No. If you create one sales order in the GTS system, there will be one custom document at the same one custom document. There is no consolidation of the sales documents.
Okay. So while creating the delivery, I have created the delivery for the multiple sales orders. What happened in that case?
So if you create one delivery for multiple sales orders,
Yeah.
Here the point is whether you create, whether you create the delivery document by combining multiple order or one order, it doesn't matter. The system looks at whether it receives the one delivery or multiple deliveries. If it receives one delivery, it creates one custom document. It receives 10 deliveries, the system will create 10 custom documents at the 10 delivery levels. That's how it works. So that means each and every transaction will be having an associated individual custom document or custom declaration in the GTS module.
Venkat, one question. How GTS considers about shipment document or shipment cost document?
So basically, as part of under normal conditions, it is not possible. But if you would like to use, if you are using the transportation module, then you need to integrate your SAP GTS system to that transportation module system. You need to use the transportation module. You need to connect our SAP GTS system to the transportation module in order to take care of that. But in general, we don't refer the shipment document to the GTS module. That means the GTS system supports normal order, delivery, billing. And if you want to use the transportation, the shipment process, you need to use the transportation module. That way, the transportation area which is available in the ECC will not be having any impact, or it will not be taken care by the GTS module. You got the difference? What I'm trying to tell?
Yeah. That means that shipment document, even the shipment cost document also under ECC transportation is not at all being transferred to GTS.
Yes,
right?
it's not considered. No, it's not considered. Shipment document, if you are not using the transportation.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So now, this is what happens when you transfer the transactional data from the ECC to GTS. That means for each and every transaction, we'll be having an associated custom document in the GTS module. Like sales order is having custom document sales level, delivery is having custom document delivery, and billing or the pro forma is having custom export declaration document, purchase order is having custom document PO level, inbound delivery is having custom document inbound delivery level, and material document is having custom import declaration document. So this is the data integration, what happens between transactional data from ECC to GTS. So now we need to know the master data. So we need to know what happens when you transfer the master data from ECC to GTS. That also we need to know. So now you tell me, so what master data is getting transferred from the ECC to GTS? What master data is getting from the ECC to GTS?
Like customer master data and then material master data.
Material master. Vendor also.
Vendor master data. Can I ask a question? Just you I know you know very well, but to make sure that you are not missing the base concept. So why are we only considering this master data? In ECC we do have other master data elements, right? So we may have work center, we may have routings, or we may have something else. Then why are we considering only customer, vendor, and the products? Why are we considering only these three main elements? Why are we not considering all other master data elements in the GTS model?
Because this thing only going to screen in GTS.
That means, what is the purpose of GTS module?
To screen the
Taxation.
documents.
Taxation.
Not the taxation, to screen the process, right? To screen all the processes, right?
Correct.
Now, which transactions will be considered when you say international transaction? Which transactions are considered for international screening process and international business? Which transactions?
Export documents.
Export and
Like sales order, delivery.
Billing.
Very high level. Export and import.
Import.
Right? Import. So which module of SAP ECC will take care of exports?
Foreign trade, SD foreign trade and MM foreign trade.
Forget about the foreign trade. I'm just very which module of SAP ECC will take care of export transaction? If you want to create an export order,
sales and distribution.
Sales and distribution. And which module of SAP CC will take care of import transactions?
Material management.
So that means which modules are relevant for the, like, which modules master data, which modules transaction data is relevant for the GTS module?
Sales and distribution and material master.
SD module and MM module. So we do not need to think about, for PP module, we do not need to think about, HRM, we do not need to think about something else. So that is the reason we are only considering customer master, vendor master, and product or the material. So these are the three master data elements what we need to consider to transfer the data, from ECC to GTS, from the ECC to GTS. So now the other point is what happens when you transfer a customer, from the ECC to GTS? We need to know that. And also what happens when you transfer a vendor from the ECC to GTS? We need to know. And also what happens when you transfer a product or the material from the ECC to GTS? Can anyone tell me? Or what do you think? Can anyone guess? I think you can see the screen, but still I just want to ask you.
I think whenever we transfer master data from ECC, the corresponding master data will be created in GTS.
Business partner, named it.
Sorry. So that means the expectation is when you transfer the customer from the ECC to GTS, there should be, when you transfer the customer from the ECC to GTS, there should be, when you transfer the customer from the ECC to GTS, there should be an associated, the corresponding, there should be an associated corresponding record, right? For each and every, the expectation is whatever the customer master you are transferring from the ECC to GTS, the GTS system should be in a position to create corresponding or associated master record, right? Some record. Am I correct? Sunil, am I correct?
Yeah, yes, Venkat. Yeah.
So in the similar way, when we transfer the vendor master record from the ECC to GTS, the expectation is in the GTS module, there should be an associated or corresponding master record in the GTS module. That also need to be there. In the similar way, when you transfer the product or the material, the GTS system should be in a position to create corresponding record. That's for sure. Otherwise, there is no point. There is no point of transferring the data. So that means now we need to know what corresponding record, what associated record or what corresponding record will be created for the customer, will be created for the vendor, or will be created for the product. That we need to know. So let me explain. So basically, when you transfer the customer master from the ECC to GTS, basically when you transfer the customer master from the ECC to GTS, what will happen? The GTS system will create corresponding business partner record. As I already explained you, in the GTS module, we do not have a concept of customer master, or we do not have a concept of vendor master, or we do not have a concept of material master. What we have a concept of business partner. That means in SAP GTS, the system consider each and every member, or in SAP GTS, the system treat each and every member participating in the business, whoever it is, whether it is a customer, whether it is a vendor, whether it is a forwarding agent, whether it is a bank, whether it is a finance institution, or any government agency or customs office, whatever it is, whoever, even a visitor, whoever it is, if anyone is participating in the international trade, the GTS system will consider as a business partner. That means in SAP GTS we have a concept of business partner. No customer, no vendor, no forwarding agent, or no consignee, or no bank, or no no government agency, or no third party people. Whoever it is, SAP consider the business partner. So that way, each and every customer, whichever you are transferring from the ECC to GTS, the customer master will be created will be created as a business partner in the GTS module. And next one, even when you transfer vendor master, what will happen? The GTS system again will create a corresponding business partner record for the vendor as well. That means all the customers transferred from the ECC to GTS will be having an associated business partner records in the GTS module, and all the vendor master records whichever created in the ECC, when they're transferred to the GTS module, they referred as a business partner record. That means whatever the master record is transferred from the ECC to GTS will be considered as a business partner record in the GTS module. In the similar way, if you transfer so if you transfer the product or the material, then what will happen? The GTS system will create an associated custom product. Okay, for the members, for the customers or vendors. Okay, for the customers or vendors, what will happen? The GTS system for the customers or vendors, the GTS system creates associated business partner. But if it is the product, what will happen? The GTS system will create associated. Okay, custom product. If it is the product, the GTS system will create the associated custom product, and if it is customer or vendor, the GTS system will create the associated business partner. Okay, this is like the correspondence or association of customer, vendor, and the product to the GTS model. So now my question is, I'm going to ask you one more question. That is, if GTS system creates, if the GTS system creates a business partner for the customer, and if the GTS system creates same kind of business partner record for the vendor, or if the GTS system creates some business partners for the banks, some business partner for the government agencies or the customs office, if the GTS system creating every member as a business partner, then how how it is possible to you to differentiate one kind of business partner to other kind of business partner? You got my point? I mean to say, if the GTS system is getting created, is creating business partner record for everything like customer, vendor, bank, financial institution, or third party people, visitors, whoever it is or whatever it is, then at least we should be able to, you should be in a position to differentiate which business partner is a customer, which business partner is a vendor, right? We need to know the difference, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
So then what do you think? What might be the approach given by the SAP? Any idea?
Business partner role, yeah, BB role.
Correct.
Yeah.
So actually what happens, if you are correct, all the business partners, or we can identify, or we can differentiate, the business partner records created in the GTS system using the concept of business partner role. Okay, we can differentiate, or we can identify, or we can differentiate the business partners from one to each other using the role, the concept of business partner role. So that means if the GTS system creates the business partner record for the customer, then the system assigns the role as a customer, role. If the business partner record is getting created for the customer master record, then the system assigns the customer role to that business partner. If the business partner record is created for the vendor, the system assigns the role as a vendor. In a similar way, if when you are creating a bank in the GTS module, then you need to select the role as a bank. If you are creating the government agency, if you are creating the business partner record for the government agency, then you need to choose the role as a government agency. If you are creating the business partner record for the third party data providers, you need to select the role. So that way all the business partners are identified, or all the business partners are differentiated using the concept of business partner role. Okay, that is also one more thing what we need to know. The concept, using the help of business partner roles, we can differentiate one business partner to other business partner. And I'm going to tell you, I think a couple of members may be having the questions related to that, but since I know that I have come across this kind of questions sometime back in our previous sessions, I want to tell you a few things. The naming, the numbers, the master data numbers will be always different. That means your customer master number and the business partner record number never be same. It never be same. Okay, it's always different. That means we cannot have the same number to the business partner record as a customer, or we cannot have the same number. Our SAP GTS system cannot support to have the same number. SAP GTS system cannot support to have the same number for the business partner record as a customer or the business partner record as a vendor. But only thing is that from the product perspective, the product of ECC is the same as product of GTS, the custom product of GTS. Only the product is having the same naming convention and same thing, everything same. But when it comes to the customer master or vendor master, the system will be assigning different numbers according to the available sequence, available number series. So that way, the customer master doesn't need to have the same number for the business part record of GTS module, or the vendor master record doesn't need to be have the same number for the associated business part record in the GTS module. In the similar way, the transactional perspective. From the transactional perspective also, it doesn't need to be like same number for the sales order and the custom document sales level. We cannot achieve it. Okay, please.
Venkat, Amarnath here. If you use the same number range, is it possible?
Even if you use the same number range, the number can fall under the number range, but it cannot be the same number. You understood?
Okay.
So if you use the same number range, what will happen? Maybe the both EC customer and business partner can be start with the same number series, but it cannot be the same number exactly. You understood?
Okay.
So we cannot SAP GTS did not provide any kind of approach, any kind of option for that. Even we don't need, it doesn't matter. Okay, we don't need that. You know why? If you want to know what is the customer number for your business partner, you can see. If you dig into the business partner record, if you go inside of the business partner record, there is a field called external customer number. There you can see what is the customer number associated with this business partner. You can see there. And also if you want to search the business partner number based on the customer number, you can also do that. So SAP GTS system is having the capability to identify the business partner record based on the ECC customer number, or you can, if you know the business partner record, you can also see what is the customer number available for that. So that way you don't need to have the same number at all. Even SAP has not provided any option. Okay. In the similar way, from the transactional perspective also, there is no need of having the same number for the sales order or the custom document sales level, and it is not even possible to have the same number for the delivery and the custom document delivery document. Always the numbers differs. Okay, your sales order number can be X or 123. Your custom document sales level can be 786. Okay, I think someone is asking a question.
Venkat, I have a question. So within GTS, if your vendor is your customer too, then can they have same number, because business partner concept allows that in S4HANA? Not sure about GTS.
No, but it will not allow in the GTS model. You don't have any standard approach at all. We don't have it.
Okay, so you need to create two master records, one for vendor and one for customer. You cannot have a single master record in two roles.
Can you repeat your question? I think I lost your question. I did not get you. Can you repeat?
So if your vendor is your customer too, can you create one business partner and two roles?
No. At one point of time, one customer can have one role.
Okay,
I think, Venkat, sorry to interrupt here. Venkat, while creating the business partner, we can save in different role, right? In the option is there in the top in / BP, right? There we can save it in the same customer in the two role, right?
No. At one point of time, the business partner record can have only one role. If you open the business partner record in the GTS, you can assign, you can only see one role for the one business partner.
Okay.
You got, Amar, you got what my point? What I'm trying to tell?
Yes, I got it.
That means
Maybe
But
it's,
Venkat, if we just, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt, if we just ask, we need the same name, same number, that time we need to do something, right?
that
Because
that we can do, like, you can use our standard user exits. There are some, we can, by the way how you can achieve, like, enhancement, but it is a little, a big enhancement. Generally, I never seen any client requesting for that. But if it is still required, we can do, like, most 99% of the things can be possible using the customer enhancement. If you go for enhancement, definitely it is possible. But it doesn't matter. I think it doesn't make any sense to the business, having the same number. Okay. But it is possible. When in the standard approach, it is not possible. You need to use, big enhancement to achieve that. Okay.
Yeah, Venkat, the reason I asked this question is because S4HANA allows this. So if let's say foreign trade is gone from ECC and S4HANA can only use GTS, then this should be allowed in GTS too. Going forward, I'm not sure about right now.
But right now, there's no option. Probably, like, they need to think, SAP need to think about it. Maybe based on the situation. But right now, we don't have that approach, that option, Nishit. Okay.
Venkat, Sunil here. I have one question.
Sunil.
Is the data communication between ECS and GTS, it's a two-way communication or it's a one-way communication?
It's only one-way communication.
Oh,
It's
why
only,
I'm asking is,
understood.
whenever we change the master data in ECC through the asynchronous, it will transfer to GTS.
Okay.
So when we do any changes in the GTS, the same data will reflect in ECC?
No. It's only one way. So what if you change?
What about the transaction case, transaction data case?
In the transaction also, whatever the transaction you create, it will go to the GTS. Whatever the changes you made, it will go to the GTS. But nothing will come back from the ECC, GTS to ECC. Nothing will. But
only validations, right?
Only
validation part.
Only validation. But only thing is, provided, if you use some note which contains some routine copy control routines, then what will happen? If a custom document, let me explain like this, okay? I think otherwise it doesn't make this. It's too early to discuss that, but that's why let me take 2 minutes.
Else, if this is getting covered in our further classes, maybe we can skip for now. Let
me explain. It's okay, no problem. Let me explain 1 minute. Just getting water. Okay. Hello. Sorry, I'm just getting water. Okay. Okay. Now, okay. I was explaining that, right? This one. So, for example, let us say the sales order number 200000009. Okay, the sales order number, and the custom document, associated custom document created 30000090. Okay, this is the associated custom document. So the point is, if this custom document, the sales order is this and the associated custom document is this. If this custom document is getting blocked, if the custom document is blocked in the GTS module, provided you implement a note, then what will happen? The block of the custom document can transfer to the ECC sales order. Only that can happen. That means if any blocks are available for the custom documents, the block can go back to the ECC and assign to the corresponding sales order or the delivery or purchase order inbound delivery. So only that happens. Other than that, no changes, nothing. Only the block of GTS can transfer to the ECC and block the like sales order or delivery or purchase order inbound delivery for further process. You got it, Sunil? The only that can possible.
In the high level, we can say it's a two-way communication.
Only for the block. It's not for everything. Only for the block.
Okay.
Only for the blocks can be blocks. It's not that an SAP provided, but SAP provided due to SAP is not provided as
extended function. Okay.
People, some people doesn't want to block all the transactions based on the GTS validation. Only few cases or few clients would prefer that. Few clients, they wanted to do the manual process and block the transactions manually. Okay, that is.
Okay, got it, Venkat. Thank you.
Venkat Bala here. I have one question. In case of commodity code, we generally upload in direct in SAP GTS, right?
Commodity codes, right? Codes.
Yes, commodity codes.
Commodity codes or HTS codes or ECCN numbers or ICCN number, whatever the classification code or standardizer codes, we directly upload in the GTS model, correct?
Okay, don't we have that number in SAP ECC? Because the commodity code generally used in SAP ECC as well, right? So in that case, are we again manually uploading in SAP ECC, or are we having a transfer methodology from SAP GTS to SAP ECC?
Okay, it is like this. Basically, the classification will be taken care by the GTS model. Okay, the classification. I think we can discuss this as part of product classification. Okay, if I start explaining it takes little more time.
Sure.
High level I can tell you. The actual product classification will be done in the GTS module. For that we need product and we need classification codes, right? That means if you are asking the GTS system to classify the products, what it needs. It needs the products, list of products, and it needs the list of classification codes like commodity code and HTS codes. Am I correct, Bala?
Right.
Okay. So now the product will be transferred from the ECC system. The product or the material will be transferred from the ECC system, but the commodity codes we upload directly once you receive from the data providers. The commodity code or the standardizer code or any code will not transfer from the ECC. We directly upload those codes to the GTS model. That is your question?
We are uploading in SAP GTS, that is okay, but in SAP ECC also we have a field for commodity code, right? Import export code.
That
So
if you want,
are we expecting value will be filled from SAP GTS?
No. We can do. I can tell you like this. For that, if you have a requirement of classification data in the ECC also, yes, SAP provide an option. All the classified products information can be transferred to the ECC. It is possible. If you want, you can. If the product X is classified with 1, 2, 3 classification code, you want to have that classification information in the ECC. Yes, it is possible. We can do that.
Yeah, it's clear now. Yeah.
That is possible. Okay. So now we need to know. So okay, as of now, what we understood that what transactional data will be. Okay, we started discussing what data is intended from transferring from the ECC to GTS, and what kind of mode of or what type of mode of transfer we need to use from the ECC to GTS, and also we understood that. So what is the data integration or the correspondence? We also discussed about the transactional data association or the transactional data correspondence and the master data association or the master data correspondence. So now what we need to know what needs to be done in the ECC system, what needs to be done in the ECC system to transfer the transactional data, and what needs to be done to transfer the master data. Now we need to know, or we need to understand what needs to be done to transfer the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, and what needs to be done to transfer the master data from the ECC to GTS. So in order to understand this, like the activities or the configurations required to transfer the master data from the ECC or the transactional data from the ECC, or even to create the corresponding data in the GTS with reference to ECC, we need to do some settings. In both ECC and the GTS module. So in order to happen the successful integration, in order to make sure that there will be a successful integration of transactional data and there will be successful integration of the master data from ECC to GTS. So in terms of transferring the data, in terms of the creating the corresponding or associational data in the GTS, we need to do settings in two systems. We need to do settings in two systems. One is in the ECC and one in the GTS. That means in order to make sure that there will be successful integration of transactional master data, we need to set up the settings in the ECC and we need to set up the settings in the GTS. In the today's class, we will only discuss the settings required in the ECC system. The settings required in the ECC system. That's what we will discuss now. Okay. So for that, let me log into the system. Master sheet. Okay, I think I need to tell something regarding the server access. I request you all of the team members. Make the payment by tomorrow if you not yet made. Okay. I think I have been receiving mails from the couple of team members. Okay. In order to transfer the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, what we need to do, we need to activate baddies. We need to in GTS, especially in the GTS and ECC integration perspective, or GTS module, SAP provided the standard baddies. There are many baddies, business add-ins, so which will help you to transfer the data, or in the GTS module. If you have any custom requirement, customer enhancement requirement, you can enhance those baddies. The baddies given by the SAP, and you can fulfill your requirements. Okay, that way, in order to transfer the transactional data from ECC to GTS, you need to activate baddies, and in order to transfer the master data, what you need to do, you need to activate the ALE change pointers. For transactional data, just remember, for transactional data, we need to activate the business add-ins, that is baddies. For the master data, you need to activate the ALE change pointers. And apart from this, there is something else. Can anyone tell me? So if you want to communicate one system to other system, if you want to send some data from one system to another system, so apart from baddies or transactional data, whatever it is, what is the very basic requirement, prerequisite?
RFC connection.
Yes, RFC connections, correct. What we need to do, we need to set up the very basic prerequisite is we need to set up the RFC connections. Who will do the RFC settings? Do you set up the RFC connections in your client? If you want to connect your ECC system to one ECC system to your customer ECC basis team will do. But still, even though it is the responsibility of the basis team, but we just need to know what the basis team will do. So we just need to know what the basis team will take care of as part of the system connections. So very high level, I will tell you. I will not get into the deep because when I try to explain very deep or very deeper level, few people try to play with that, and we had very trouble with the getting the transferring the data, transferring the master data, transfer the transactional data. So that from that time onwards, I'm just explaining what the basis team will do. I'm just showing the activities. I'm not going to show you what they do inside each and every level. Okay. And one more thing. Okay, I think that's okay. Let me go to. Okay, now I have to tell you something. In SAP ECC or in SAP GTS, whether it is an SAP ECC or whether it is in SAP GTS, we have something called GTS Area menu. GTS Area menu. It is like GTS cockpit or GTS dashboard. Some people call it as GTS cockpit. Some people call it as GTS dashboard. Some people call it as area menu. You know that, right? For example, even if you're working for few clients, the client will be creating area menus like SD like sales and distribution area menu, or production planning area menu, or materials management area menu. So that means whatever the very frequent user transactions your business requires, or whatever the transactions will be executed by your business users on a very frequent basis, what nowadays everybody is doing. So they are creating a cockpit, or they are creating a dashboard, or they are creating an area menu, right? So in single screen, they can see one section, sales order section, VA01, VA02, VA003, or VA05, or in the delivery level, VL01, VL02, VL03, or VL06, like this, that, right? Area menu or the dashboard, where you can see all 30, or I think not even 30, or 50 to 60 transactions you can create in one single screen. The user doesn't need to use each and every single transaction to get into. You know that, right? Area menu. So in the similar way, SAP, what happens? It's not created by the users. SAP itself provided a concept of GTS area menu in the ECC and GTS module as well. SAP GTS provided an area menu in the ECC and GTS as well. So for that you need to remember the 2 transaction codes. And I wanted to tell you, in the GTS module, the transaction codes are very lengthy. In the GTS module, the transaction codes are very lengthy. You do not need to remember all the transaction codes, okay? You don't need to remember all the transaction codes, but still there are 2 transaction codes which you definitely need to remember. You do not need to remember all the transaction codes, but there will be 2 transaction codes which you definitely need to remember. I will show you those 2 transaction codes. Those 2 transaction codes, one will help you to accessing the area menu in the ECC. One will help you to access the GTS area menu in the ECC system. One transaction code will help you to access the GTS area menu in the ECC. The other transaction code will help you to access the GTS area menu in the GTS itself. Try to get my point. There are 2 transaction codes which you need to remember. One transaction code which will help you to access the GTS area menu in the ECC system, and the other transaction will help you to access the GTS area menu in the GTS system itself. So these are the 2 transaction codes what you need to remember. I think it is /SAP SLL /menu_legal. Okay. This is one transaction code and this is a 2 transaction code. I will tell you the difference. Okay. Let me open the big screen. Okay. If you need to access the GTS area menu in the GTS system, if you need to access GTS area menu in the GTS system, this is the transaction code, that is /SAP SLL /menu_legal /SAP SLL /menu_legal. So this is the transaction code to access GTS area menu in the GTS system, which is also called as GTS dashboard or GTS cockpit. And in a similar way, if you want to access GTS area menu in the ECC system, what you need to do for the same transaction, you just need to add R3. Why? You would like to access the GTS area menu in the R3 system, right? You got my point? So this is the actual GTS area menu transaction. This is the transaction code for the GTS area menu in the GTS. But now you are trying to access the GTS area menu in the ECC system. That's why SAP suggested just add the same transaction code, just add R3. So that then what will happen? You can access the GTS area menu in the ECC. So let me show you both the things, okay? So this is ECC system, right? You remember I opened ECC system, right? I opened ECC system. So now if I use this transaction code, so what the system is showing me? It looks like area menu, right? All the different transactions for the master data, documents or the recovery. There are different elements in a single screen, right? You understood? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you go to the GTS module, okay. So what is the transaction code? /SAP SLL menu underscore legal. So this is, if I use this transaction code now in the GTS, I'm in the GTS module. Okay. So what you can see, it's an area menu, right? Here you can see like compliance management, customs management, risk management, and electronic compliance reporting. And again, you can see SPL scanning. If you get into the SPL scanning, again, the dependent transaction codes or the reports and everything. So this way, SAP provided two transaction codes. One is to access GTS area menu in the ECC, and the other transaction is to access the GTS area menu in the GTS itself. So that you need to remember. And for your information, in SAP GTS, when it comes to SAP GTS, when it comes to SAP GTS module, you know what will happen? Whether it is the transaction code, whether it is the table, whether it is the report, whether it is the function module, whether it is the business partner role, whether it is the user exit, whatever it is, table or whatever it is, everything starts with /SAP SLL, whatever it is. In SAP GTS, I will show you so that you will not forget, okay?
Is there any full form for SLL, Venkat?
I don't think actually. I had the same question a couple of times to me, but I think I didn't get anywhere.
Okay, that's fine, Venkat.
And for example, if I go to TSTC, or let me go to SC93.
You can go to SC16.
I think it's okay. I just want to show you this one.
We can go to TSTC. You can go to TSTC, there you can put that transition star instead.
Let me show you this and that one as well, okay? Okay. So if you look at these transaction codes, so there are 1497 transaction codes, okay? All are belongs to SAP GTS. You can see all the transactions /SAP SLL / like maintain embargo situation for export, or create administrative unit. So all these transaction codes are SAP GTS transaction codes. So what is this pattern? You can see every transaction code is starting with SAP SLL, right? You can see that, right? Positive list of the members, positive negative list of the members, or upload XML data, display SPL upload. So what is the pattern you can see? Every transaction is starting with
Yeah, SAP SLL
SLL.
slash SAP.
Yes. And if I go to SC11, the same thing, TSTC, what I try to show, even here also you can see the same thing.
Venkat, I just googled it. SLL's full form is it's a secure socket layer.
Okay, it's okay. I think we don't need to nobody will ask you that. Okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Let me. Okay, so again, you can see all the transaction codes starting with the /SAP SLL / okay, like this. And if you look at, again, the tables. So the tables, SAP SLL. These are the tables. So again, what is the 1 minute. So what is the pattern you can see for each and every table, like display payment methods or package types or type of registration? These are all GTS transactions, GTS tables. So what is the pattern you can see? /SAP SLL, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means whether it is the table or transaction code, or if you go to function modules, if I go to SC37, okay, and if I look at SAP SLL, all the function modules, okay, so all the function modules starting with again /SLL. So like this, whether it is a table, function module, or even program, if you go to the SC38 programs, again you see the same thing. Not only programs, even if you look at the user exits or the business partner roles, whatever it is, and this is about the programs. And if I get into business partner roles, I go to /NBP, and if I try to create any, if I look at business partner roles, so are you able to see not slash, like SLL AUT, SLL BNK, SLL, all starting with SLL. So that means if you look at SAP SLL or SLL, anything, anywhere, whether it is business partner roles or transaction codes or tables, programs, reports, or even if I go to the, in the ECC, if I go to the ECC system, user exits at the baddies. So let me go to the SAP SD module. Where is sales and distribution? So you see, what is the user exit name? SLL LEG405, SLL LEG04, SLL LEG03. So like this, whatever it is, even the business add-ins, what I'm going to explain you in few minutes. So that is the business add-in, okay. So MM0A, MM0B, whatever it is, even if I look at what is the business add-in name. So how it is starting? What is the baddie name? /SAP SLL, right? SAP SLL. So that means if you see anywhere SAP SLL or SLL, you blindly need to remember, blindly need to consider it is a GTS report or GTS transaction code, GTS function model, GTS the user exit. So please keep it in mind, okay? So now So now we need to discuss about the baddies, right? The baddies, business add-ins. And before that, I'm explaining something else, right? I'm talking about what the basis team will take care of it. So that is what settings or how the basis team will set up. So basically, if you want to connect or if you want to set up the RFC connections between two systems, what you need to do, you need to define the logical system. First of all, you need to define the logical system, and then you need to assign the client to the logical system, and then you need to define the RFC destinations. So these are the three major things: define the logical system, assign the client to the logical system, and define the RFC destinations. So basically, you can see those settings using our SM. Okay, you can do that using our SAP GTS Area menu in the ECC. If you go to the basic settings, are able to see define logical system, assign logical system, or maintain RFC destination for the RFC calls or RFC method calls. So now, apart from this GTS Area menu, we also have our standard T codes, right? That is SALE, right? If you go to the sale transaction, okay, under basic settings, you can create the logical system here. You can create the logical system and you can assign the logical system to the client here. And also, if you go to the SM59, what you can do, so this is the place where you can define the RFC destination. You can go to the above connections and whichever the client it is, your client system name, and there for that client, what you can do, you can define the RFC settings. Like you can define the login details or the password, the client system, the target system, user ID and the password, and other the technical settings, port name or target host, like this. So that means the basis team, what it does, very high level, the basis team need to define logical system, assign the logical system to the client, and define the RFC destinations. And apart from this, like in general, if you are sending any message, then what you need to do, you need to define the port, and we need to define the partner profiles using WE20 and WE21, WE30. So using all those transaction code, we can do something else. But when it comes to the RFC connections, in general system connections, the basis team define the logical system, assign the logical system, and also they define the RFC destinations. So this is what we need to know at this moment. And regarding IDOC setup, the defining the partner profiles or defining the port and defining the distribution model using the BD64. So that I would like to discuss those things as part of our special weekend sessions. As I already told you, after completing this 35 to 40 hours of training, so we will be having 5 special sessions where one session will be dedicated for taking care of IDOC, like partner profiles or port creation or system connections. All these things we will discuss as part of the special session. Okay, so this is what the basis team will take care. And after that, and provided, assuming that already systems are connected, in order to transfer the transactional data or in order to transfer the master data, what we need to do, what I told you, what I explained you, to transfer the transactional data, what we need to do in the ECC, I already told you. We need to
enable the for the baddies.
Yes, we need to activate
the master data. We have to enable change pointers.
So we need to activate the baddies for the transactional data transfer, and we need to activate the we need to change the pointers for the master data transfer. Okay. In order. Hello.
Venkat, why do we need the IDOC correction here? Because the systems should be talking directly through conventional RFC, right?
We don't need to do anything like an IDOC. IDOC, I am telling you, it's not for the system connection perspective. I am talking about the IDOC. The reason is, as part of your sending any message, configuring the IDOCs, or sending any message to the customs authorities, configuring any IDOC message. In general, I was just referring. If anybody needs to know that IDOC monitoring or IDOC testing or IDOC configuring the IDOCs or configuring the partner profiles, creating the ports in general, not related to the system to system connection. I'm talking about in general, like when it comes to the GTS module, if you want to send any message to the customs authorities, you need to configure the message, you need to define the partner profiles to like, you know, over the, what is that, who is that custom authority as a partner profile, logical system, whatever it is, right? That's what I'm talking. You understood?
Okay, okay. So ECC to GTS is all inbuilt.
Inbuilt.
No,
We do not need any IDOC at all. It's all inbuilt. You are correct. It's all very good question. It's all inbuilt. ECC to GTS, it's all inbuilt. We do not need to configure any IDOC, or we are not transferring any IDOCs like, you know, from the ECC. Everything is inbuilt. Whatever that is required, it is already configured inbuilt by the SAP itself. Pre-configured inbuilt.
thanks.
Okay. Okay. Now, so in order
Sorry to interrupt.
Amma?
Venkat, sorry to interrupt here. For body, we need master data, right?
Daddy?
Master transition, we need body, right? And for
No.
transition data, we need AD.
No. That is for the transactional data. I will show you. BADI activation, business add-in activation for only for the transactional data, and for the master data, the IDOC setup is already done inside inbuilt. You only need to activate the change pointers. That is what we need to do. For master data, you don't need to special IDOC setup or IDOC activation or anything. You don't need to do. You just need to activate the change pointers, and you need to schedule the background jobs. You need to run the programs on a frequent basis, periodical basis. That's it, what you need to do. For master data, you need to activate the change pointers, and you need to schedule the background jobs. Okay. For the transactional
I think this is the reason for master data.
Sunil?
Yeah, Venkat. Yeah, go ahead, Venkat.
Okay. For master data, we just need to activate the change pointers, and we need to schedule the background jobs according to requirement. For the transactional data, we need to activate the business add-ins. But inside,
So what I was saying,
but when it comes to the master data, internally the inbuilt configuration it works based on the master data only. But we don't do anything. It has taken care by the SAP itself. Sunil.
so what I was saying, right, Venkat, I think, so when the initial classes you have said, right, you know, for transaction it's a real time, that is synchronous, and for the master data it's asynchronous. I think this is the reason, I guess. ALE is the, you know, change pointer. This is the reason, you know, SAP has recommended for the asynchronous.
Yes. So to reach out baddies, if I need to go to the sales and distribution, SPRO, sales and distribution, foreign trade customs. Under foreign trade customs, you can see GTS, SAP GTS plugin, SAP Global Trade Services plugin. And here, control data for transferring to GTS module. So SPRO, sales and distribution, SPRO, sales and distribution, foreign trade customs, SPRO. This is the path, this is the transaction path to activate baddies. Whatever I am showing you, this is the transaction code path or path to reach out activation of the baddies to transfer the transactional data from ECC to GTS. What I am going to explain you, I am going to explain you the baddies required to activate for transferring the transactional data from the ECC to GTS. The path is, you need to go to SPRO, sales and distribution, foreign trade and customs, and then global trade services plugin. Under this, control data for transfer to the GTS, that is global trade services. Under that, technical activation of the document transfer. Okay. Here you can see there are six baddies. There are total 6 baddies. So how many transactions we have discussed here when we started the class today morning? How many transactions we started? We understood that there are 6 transaction codes, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Total 6 transaction codes. What the 6 transaction code? intended. These are the 6 transaction codes which are intended for transferring the ECC to the GTS module. So since there are 6 transactions, which are intended for transferring to GTS module, SAP also provided 6 baddies. 6 baddies. What are those 6 baddies? From the sales side, from the export side, SD0A, SD0B, SD0C, SD0A, SD0B, SD0C. So these are the 3 business add-ins. These are the 3 business add-ins which we need to activate. These are 3 business add-ins which we need to activate for transferring the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, that sales order delivery billing. And MM0A, MM0B, MM0C, these are the 3 baddies which we need to activate for transferring import transactions, for transferring import side transactions like purchase order, inbound delivery, and the material document from the ECC to GTS. These are the six baddies. And here I wanted to ask questions before I explain the concept. I wanted to ask the questions, and so that I will and then I will explain. If my client is only doing export activities, if my client is only involving export activities, okay, and my client would like to use GTS system only for the export related activities, then do I need to activate all the 6 baddies?
Not required. Not necessary.
Okay. And the other question. If my client is only importing the raw materials and doing some imports from other countries, and they don't do any export, they import the material and they sell to the only domestic customers, then do I need to, again, do I need to activate all the baddies?
No, Venkat, not required.
So that means when you are supposed to activate all the 6 baddies? Whenever
When we have both imports and exports.
Whenever you would like to use GTS module, to support both import and export operations of your organization, right? If you would like to use GTS module to support the import and export operations of your client, then you need to activate all the 6 baddies. Otherwise, you do not need to activate. Whatever the area it is, only those things need to be activated. Please remember that. And now how to activate? So it is very easy. It is only single step process, whether it is the activation or deactivation. If you execute one time, if it was already in the deactivation mode, it will activate. And if it was already activated, if you execute it, it will deactivate. You see now. So now I'm trying to demonstrate it. So what is the message you can see?
Do you want to deactivate the baddie message?
What does it mean? How can we conclude?
It means it's already activated.
It was already activated. So just for the demonstration, I am deactivated and I will activate again, okay? Because otherwise the team members, our server, it's not alone. It's not our own, it will be shared by different people. Maybe our old students or our student, or maybe everybody can have can use the system, because from wherever we are getting, that is being shared with other users as well, other people as well. Okay, that's why you never deactivate anything. If it is already activated, you never deactivate. Okay, but just for the test purpose, I'm just so now the baddie has deactivated. So if you want to activate, what you need to do? Again, just execute it. Just one time.
You re-execute.
Execute. Just Just single step process. Very easy, okay? And never and ever deactivate anything, okay, please. Because if you just deactivate and kept quiet, the people who are working on the system, they may need to suffer a lot. If they're able to realize that it is because of this, they can simply come here and do that. Sometimes if they don't think about it, they may spend a lot of time on other things, okay? So like this, whether it is SD0A or
Venkat, your voice is breaking again.
Hello?
Yeah, your voice is breaking in between.
Oh really? Is it to everyone or only for the Nishit? To Nishit?
Yeah, Venkat, even I am having the same issue.
How is it now?
Probably has the same issue. Venkat.
How is it now?
It's good.
Yeah, now it's better.
It's better now.
Maybe for the time being, for temporarily. I have seen a small message having some issues, but I thought it's only very slight few minutes. I thought, okay. So like this, whatever the baddie it is, you need to activate like this, okay? Whether it is MM0A or whatever it is, I don't want to show all because you don't need, it's simple thing, same thing, okay? So now I wanted to ask a question. If I activate SD0A, you have to catch my point, okay? You have to catch my question, and try to answer that. When I tell the system, or when I activate the baddie SD0A, okay? When I activate the baddie SD0A, from that time onwards, what will happen? Or what do you mean? Or what is your intention in activating that? What is your intention behind doing that?
Only to transfer the sales documents.
So your intention or your objective behind activating the baddie is transfer all my sales order to the GTS module. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, Venkat, yeah.
So your intention or your goal or your objective or your aim behind activating that baddie is telling the system, please transfer all my sales transactions from the ECC to GTS. Right? You agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Do we really need to transfer all the sales orders, all the sales transactions from the ECC to GTS?
No.
Not required, Venkat.
Not
Like
required,
for the
right?
credit memo, debit memos.
Yes, we may not need to transfer credit memos, we may not need to transfer debit memos, we may not need to transfer employee orders or free of charge orders or some sample orders, right? We don't need to transfer all those, like maybe return orders. We don't need to transfer all those things, right?
I mean, only the input orders or input orders.
And even we don't need to transfer domestic orders also, right? You don't need to do, right? You don't need to transfer the domestic sales orders, right?
Right.
But are you telling anything here? Are you instructing anything to the system when you are activating SD0A? Did you tell anything to the system only transfer the export orders?
No.
No, we did not tell, right? We didn't tell. We didn't instruct, right? So then what we need to do? We need to tell somewhere, right? We need to instruct or we need to guide somewhere, right? Otherwise what happens? System always trying to transfer all unnecessary data from ECC to GTS. Am I correct?
You're right.
Okay. So, and again it is again on the top of it, it is the same case for everything, right? Even for the purchase order or inbound delivery, even for a billing document, the same case is applicable. The same scenario is applicable, right?
Will be same, yes.
Okay.
It will be same.
That is the reason what you need to do. There is some dependent configuration. There is some dependent configuration where you need to tell what document types, which document types or what document types you want to transfer, or else which document type transactions or what document type transactions you want to transfer. You don't need to keep. You just need to activate and don't keep quiet. When you activate a baddie, immediately come to the next configuration, that is configure control settings for the document transfer. Come here, and for each and every baddie level or that is application level or body level, for each and every body level, you need to specify for which document transactions, for which document type transactions you want to transfer to the GTS module. Are you able to see here? Even though you can see multiple, but in the real time, whichever the document type transactions are relevant to the GTS module, only those document types need to be specified. You understood? Understood? So if you want to transfer document type ZEOR, that is export orders, or if you want to transfer ZCOR like Canada orders, let us say, or Germany orders, or something else, only those document types need to be specified here. Okay, only those document types orders need to be specified, and then you need to tell the system whether you would like to perform compliance check, for that, whether you need to perform compliance check for that document type or not, whether you would like to perform risk management checking process for the document type or not, or whether you would like to receive any dialogue, when it is like this. Generally this dialogue is applicable when you create a transaction manually. When you create a sales order or delivery manually, then you can see some dialog box. I can show you what is the dialog. So when you create a sales order and save it, once you save it, it gives the pop-up or dialog box saying that the custom document is created in the GTS system and it is already blocked in the GTS, or it is released in the GTS. So like this. So whether you need compliance screening, risk screening, and dialog box, any dialog box when you save the sales order in the ECC, whatever it is you can specify. So that means in this dependent configuration, what you can do for each and every what is that application area level or body level, you need to specify the documents applicable. You need to specify the list of documents applicable, like whether LF document is relevant for the transfer, or ZELF is relevant for the transfer, and whether ABC document is relevant for the transfer or not. So whatever the document types are relevant, those document types need to be specified under each and every body level. Okay, so that is what you need to do. In the dependent configuration. First of all, I will repeat it. First of all, when you are activating, you are just activating at the very high level, the whole document, whole area level, sales or delivery or billing, whatever it is. Since you are not specifying anything, SAP provided a dependent configuration where you can specify the list of the document types relevant for the transferring the data from the ECC to the GTS. So that is the dependent configuration what you need to do here. The first thing is the technical activation of the document transfer and configure the control settings for the document transfer. So this is all about activation of the baddies to transfer the transactional data, and also specification of document types relevant for the document transfer to the GTS module. So this is for what? Transactional data. And for the master data, it is not in SPRO. For the master data, it is not in SPRO. It is under GTS area menu. For the master data activating the ALE change pointers, you need to go to
Venkat, I have one question here.
Please.
Venkat, why we need to have GTS check at the material document level?
Okay,
because
I can tell you.
when we create the delivery itself, most of the checks will happen, right? So during PJ time, material document will create, and only it will impact on the accounting entry side and stock movements.
No. I think that is a good question. That is a very, very valid question. From the export side, please remember, from the export side, we do not, from the export side, we do not give any importance to the material document. Please remember, I repeat, from the export level or from the export side, we don't give any importance to the material document. Okay, material document is not having any importance from the export level. From the export side, we give importance to the order, we give importance to the delivery, we give importance to the billing document or the pro forma. But for the import side, you know, we give importance to purchase order, inbound delivery, and we don't give any importance to the vendor invoice. Okay, from the vendor invoice, we don't give any importance to the vendor invoice. But instead of that, so the expectation is what? Generally, when you give the preference to the pro forma invoice or material billing document, from the import side also we should give importance to the vendor invoice, right? But SAP is recommending use only material document. You know that, right? In SAP, whenever any movement happens, whatever the movement happens, like, you know, whether the goods moved from like plant to plant, store location, or goods issue or goods receipt, like 101, 102, 261 backfresh consumption, or 131, 132, or 121, 122, whatever it is, or 657, or if you do the scrap, if you scrap the goods, so whatever it is, for any movement of, like, you know, the goods movement, we create a material document in the background. So from the import side, whatever the material document is created for the goods receipt process. When you do the inbound delivery, what you do? Against the inbound delivery, we need to receive the goods, right? Am I correct? We need to perform the post goods receipt, PGR. That is, you know, 131 or, you know, 101, right? Either 101 or 131. I think there is a slight difference, but this is for the goods receipt. So that movement type, the 101 movement type, whatever the goods receipt you do against the inbound delivery, that movement type, that material document is having some importance. So that is which is being used to connect or to create customs import declaration document. From the export side, 601 is nothing. From the export side, 601 is not having any importance with respect to the data integration. But for the import side, the 101 is having so much importance because the material document which is getting created in the background for the post goods receipt process, that is being used to create a customs import declaration document in the GTS model. Sunil, you got it?
Yeah, got it, Venkat. Okay. So for the purpose of declaration documents, we use material document.
Yes. For the purpose of creating the customs import declaration document, we are referring the material document which is created with reference to the, what is that, post goods receipt. Okay.
And one more question, Venkat. Sorry. You said, right, for the domestic sales, you know, we no need to do GTS checks. Okay, that's correct. But, you know, when we use, you know, same sales document type for the both imports and exports, how we can differentiate?
Then you need to use the enhancement. And if you, in general, I don't think, I mean, maybe one or two cases it is there, but in general, most of the clients use, different document types for the export and import, if I'm not wrong, like export and domestic, right? I think so, most of the cases.
Okay. So other than that, we don't have any controls by ship to or shipping from.
Then you need to use the user exits. I showed you, right, few user exits, the SLL, LG4 or LG5. So using those user exits or any enhancement, you can achieve that. But other than that, standard way, we can only specify up to document type level.
Okay, great. I got the answer. Thanks, Venkat.
No problem. So, and then we understood that the activation of the baddies and specifying the document types. So in the similar way, what we need to do, in order to transfer the master data from the ECC to GTS, what we need to do, we need to activate the ALE change pointers. So that is, in order to activate the ALE change pointers, we need to use the GTS area menu in the ECC. You need to reach out, you need to go to, or you need to get into GTS area menu in the ECC system. What is the transaction code? SAP SLL/menu_R3. Legal R3. If you don't have R3, then the transaction is nothing but GTS area menu in the GTS system. But now we are in ECC. We need to activate ALE change pointers in the ECC. So that's why you need to use /SAP SLL/menu_legal R3. So if you go here, go to the basic settings, Go to the basic settings, and here, so you need to activate. This is always activated with global level. Global level always it need to be activated, and the second level is each and every message level. Each and every message level. So the global level is mandatory. If you have a requirement of transferring the master data from the ECC to GTS, global level is mandatory, and for lower level, that is individual message level. So that is you can see here. So if you want to transfer the vendor master data, if you want to transfer the vendor master data, then what you need to do, you have to activate the message type SLL / CREMAS, CREMAS / SLL. If you want to transfer the customer master data, DEBMAS, DEBMAS, and if you want to transfer the material master data, you need to activate /SAP SLL MATMAS _ SLL. So like this, at global level, as I demonstrated in the previous configuration, that is default. That is always should be on. And the lower level, that the message level, whatever the data, if you only want to transfer customer master, then you only activate customer and deactivate the vendor and deactivate the material. Or if you only activate product, just deactivate customer and vendor and activate the material. So like this, whatever the message type or whatever the individual area you want to activate, you need to activate here. So this is like these are the ALE change pointer message types which you need to activate to transfer the data from the ECC to GTS, master data from the ECC to GTS. So this is all about the master data integration and the transactional data integration, and the BADI activation or ALE change pointer activation and the association of the documents in the GTS to ECC. With this, we understood that the configurations required from the ECC side, and in our next class, we will get into the other side, GTS side, and other some general settings. Like I think for still 4 to 5 hours of time we need to spend general settings in SAP GTS. The configuration of the general settings is very important. It's like crucial, very critical to understand the general settings, which we will discuss probably next Saturday at the same time. 1 minute actually. If I schedule at 8 o'clock, that is 10:30. Okay. For Indian team members, it is same 8 o'clock. You are fine, right? Do I need to change? I think you are good, right? 8 o'clock.
Yeah, fine, Venkat.
Okay. Fine with me, Venkat. Yeah.
So I will be conducting the next class on Saturday evening, 8 p.m. India time. That is IST, which is 10:30. Like now, right now, like in 2 to 3, 4 days, the daylight savings will be starting. Then the EST it is at 10:30. Nishit, I think it is okay to you, right? If it is 10:30.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me that, because I have another.
Actually, I'm considering you that only, like otherwise I could have little moved 7:30, but it's okay since the Indian team members are also, I am also fine. Okay.
Yeah, 10:30 is great for me.
Okay, and I think definitely it will be also okay to our Veer and Bala. For you also, right? It's a UK, because actually I started this batch only for because of Bala and Veer, because they have been waiting for almost 3-4 months, and I found like a very better time which is suitable to all of us.
Thank you, Vaj. Yeah, I've been waiting for this because weekdays batches are not suitable for me.
I understood. I know it's very difficult for the UK team members because they need to. Because I remember even Satya was there in our session when he was in UK. He used to wake up, middle of night 1:30, and he used to attend the classes. Now he is there in the class. Satya, you are there, right?
Yeah, Venkat.
Very even not only Satya, we had a couple of team members. But I just want to I started. I am not sure how many are going to join, but luckily you came. Okay. Thank you for participating. Please make make the payment by tomorrow so that I can get the.
Yeah. Sure.
Take care. Okay?
Venkat, you didn't send me the ICS details.
I will send you. I will send you after the class. Okay.
Venkat, I'll be calling you.
Venkat, please send to me also. ICS.
You need ICSA?
Yeah, please.
Okay, sure. Can you send a just reminder mail? Maybe
sure, I will send you now.
Sure.
Okay, may I know who is this waiting for name? I can see someone, attending from the web, waiting for name. May I know who is that? Waiting for name. One of the team member is attending with waiting for name. May I know who is that? Hari, I think I got the message. I will check it one more time. I think I received the mail, that you initiated the Zoom transaction. I got that mail. I will check the bank. Okay, I didn't check, but I saw your mail. I will check today. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. Good night and have a nice day for the UST members. See you next Saturday. Okay, take care.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.